Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into an epic journey through the timeline of Punjab's major historical empires. You know, it's often called the Golden Land of Agriculture, but historically, it is the absolute gateway to the Indian subcontinent. The people here are renowned worldwide for their bravery, their stature, and a totally unique way of life. So, from ancient settlements all the way to vast, sprawling empires, we're going to unpack exactly how this land transformed into the vibrant powerhouse we know today. Let's get into it. Here's our roadmap. We're tracking over 3,000 years of resilience across 6 main eras: the cradle of early empires, ancient dynasties and conquerors, medieval invasions and sultanates, the Sikh faith and Mughal conflicts, the sovereign Sikh Empire, and finally, British rule to the modern era. Section 1. Cradle of Early Empires, the Dawn of Civilization. Right off the bat, you have to understand how this region's identity is entirely tied to its rivers. The word Punjab literally means the land of 5 rivers. That's a term heavily noted by the famous explorer Ibn Battuta when he swung by in the 14th century. But honestly, the concept goes way further back into ancient text. In the great Mahabharata epic, it's called Panchanada. And if you jump back even further to the Vedic era, they called it Sapta Sindhu, which means the land of the 7 rivers. It's actually astonishing to think about. The earliest traces of human settlement in this region were found in the Soan Valley, right between the Indus and Jhelum rivers. I mean, ruins of the incredible Indus Valley civilization, places like Harappa and Ropar, they're sitting right there in the vicinity. And get this, a massive chunk of the Rig Veda was composed right here between 1500 and 1200 BC. Fast forward a bit to 550 BC, and the area was known as Trigarta, ruled by the Katoch kings. It really was the cradle of it all.
Moving on to Section 2. Ancient Dynasties and Conquerors, Clash of the Titans.
Okay, so this era brings us a literally cinematic clash between Alexander the Great and King Porus. Picture this. Alexander wipes out the Achaemenid Empire, crosses the Indus, and then boom, he hits his first real local resistance. Porus ruled the land between the Hydaspes, also known as the Jhelum, and the Chenab rivers. They face off in the legendary Battle of the Hydaspes. And while Greek historians will tell you Alexander won, he was so profoundly impressed by Porus's sheer martial prowess and bravery that he actually gave the kingdom back to him. Pretty wild, right? You really start to notice how Punjab basically acts as the ultimate grand prize for ancient conquerors. Around 302 BC, Chandragupta Maurya, with a little strategic help from Chanakya, fiercely defeated Alexander's successor Seleucus Nicator. That move secured total control over Punjab and Kabul. After that, you have the great Kushan king Kanishka ruling a massive territory that scooped up Punjab. Then, by 320 AD, the magnificent Gupta Empire steps onto the scene, expanding across northern India. And later, Harshavardhana comes into play, whose own ancestors were feudal lords right there in eastern Punjab. It was absolutely the crown jewel of ancient India. Which brings us to Section 3, Medieval Invasions and Sultanates. The gateway is breached. The 8th century completely shifts the dynamic with Arab incursions. It started with the Umayyad general Muhammad bin Qasim in 712 AD, introducing Islam to the region. Then comes the devastating raids of Mahmud of Ghazni. He invaded India 17 times, yes, 17, between 1000 and 1026 AD, mostly to fund his Central Asian empire. Eventually, Muhammad Ghori arrives. His brutal campaigns essentially paved the way for the Delhi Sultanate in 1206. And that regime, it ended up ruling Punjab through 5 different dynasties for the next 300 years. And that brings up a harsh historical truth. Without a strong base in Punjab, the rest of India cannot be conquered. That was Muhammad Ghori's major strategic realization after a bitter defeat in Gujarat around 1178. He figured out really quickly that the road to the Ganges Basin went straight through Punjab. So he pivoted. He captured Peshawar, Lahore, and the fort of Salkort, building a massive launch pad for deeper conquests into the subcontinent.
Up next, Section 4, Sikh Faith and Mughal Conflicts, Faith Under Fire.
Now, to truly grasp the origins of this conflict, we have to talk about a devastating law known as Yasa. Yasa was a brutal Mongol method of execution. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir actually used it in 1606 against the 5th Sikh Guru, Guru Arjan Dev. Basically, Jahangir was getting nervous about the Guru's growing influence and accused him of helping his rebellious son, Khusrau. Under the law of Yasa, Guru Arjan Dev was subjected to horrific torture. He was martyred by being seated on a red-hot iron plate, specifically to ensure that no blood spilled onto the earth. It was a profoundly dark turning point. So let's track the evolution of the Sikh community here, because it's a massive transformation. It starts in the 15th century as a spiritual movement under Guru Nanak. People looking for solace from Mughal persecution were converting from both Hinduism and Islam. But after the martyrdom of the 5th Guru we just talked about, things evolved rapidly. The 6th Guru, Hargobind, built the Akal Takht, explicitly declaring Sikh sovereignty. Decades later, the 9th Guru, Tegh Bahadur, sacrificed his life for religious freedom and was executed by Aurangzeb in Delhi. This all culminated in 1699, when the 10th Guru Gobind Singh established the Khalsa. This was an organized, sovereign community standing firm and fiercely against severe oppression.
Moving right along to Section 5, the Sovereign Sikh Empire. A golden era arrives.
As the Mughal Empire started to crumble, Punjab was thrown into total chaos, thanks to invasions by Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali. But the Sikhs actually used this confusion to their advantage. I mean, they had already minted their first silver coins back in 1664 to declare sovereignty. They organized themselves into 12 confederacies called missals. Fast forward to the end of the 18th century, and a truly extraordinary leader named Maharaja Ranjit Singh steps up. He united those 12 missals, captured Lahore in 1798, and forged an absolutely formidable empire.
Ranjit Singh's legacy was just immense. We're talking an empire stretching all the way from the Sutlej River to Peshawar and way up north to Ladakh. But the really fascinating part is how he ruled. Despite being an unlettered leader himself, he heavily fostered art and education. He ran a fiercely secular state, abolishing the discriminatory jizya tax entirely. And get this, he never once issued the death penalty. He's also the one who adorned the Harmandir Sahib with marble and gold, creating the stunning golden temple we know today. In fact, historians often say that if he had just been born a generation earlier, he very well might have conquered all of Hindustan.
Finally, Section 6, British Rule to Modern Era, Partition and Transformation.
Right after Ranjit Singh's death in 1839, internal divisions flared up, and that quickly opened the door for the British East India Company. This sparked two very brief but incredibly intense Anglo-Sikh Wars. The first one ended after the decisive Battle of Sebran, which led to the Treaty of Lahore in March 1846, handing territory over to the company. But tensions boiled right back over, leading to the Second Anglo-Sikh War. After the devastating Battle of Gujarat, often called the Battle of Guns, Lord Dalhousie officially annexed Punjab into the British Empire in March 1849.
Okay, 14 million. Let that massive number sink in for a second. That is the number of acres transformed by the construction of British canal colonies in western Punjab. This was an immense infrastructural project that brought 14 million acres of land under cultivation, completely revolutionizing local farming practices. It economically transformed Punjab into the ultimate agricultural powerhouse of India. It cemented the power of large landowners, and interestingly, it really encouraged cross-communal cooperation among different farming groups.
But as we know, the 20th century brought immense heartbreak and turbulent change to this vibrant land. In 1919, you have the horrific Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where British General Dyer ordered troops to fire on an unarmed crowd, killing around 400 people. Then, when independence finally arrived in 1947, Punjab was tragically partitioned between India and Pakistan amidst horrific communal violence. Decades later, on the Indian side, a prolonged linguistic movement led to the state being reorganized in 1966. It was split into the Punjabi-speaking state of Punjab, the Hindi-speaking state of Haryana, with Chandigarh acting as a shared capital. This era also saw the rise of the Khalistan movement and the resulting Operation Blue Star in the 1990s as the government tried to quell the unrest.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you all with a provocative question. How does a land conquered by Persians, Greeks, Scythians, Turks, and Afghans retain an identity so uniquely and powerfully its own? Think about it. Because of its geography, Punjab has literally been a continuous battleground. Yet despite centuries of bloodshed and constantly shifting borders, Punjab didn't just survive. It forged an indestructible synthesis of Hindu, Buddhist, and Islamic influences. It created an identity built on resilience, sacrifice, and prosperity that still shines brilliantly today. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep exploring.